Hey you guys, I wanted to come on here and give some commentary on an article I came across yesterday, and it's one that I find to be very interesting considering the fact that I spoke on a similar situation not too long ago. I don't know if you guys remember the video I did a few weeks ago where I talked about how Breonna Taylor's death was starting to seem like it was becoming more marketable because it was making a heavy impression with her passing and the fight to make sure that she got justice, but I stated how I found it extremely unusual that it seemed like people were monetizing her passing, and it seems like people are only acting in a heroic manner now because it was popular or trending. And I think in general, when we look at the state of our community, it is unfortunate that we never receive justice due to the corrupt system we live in, but it proves to be more of a disservice when the only time your name resonates and reverberates throughout society is when you ultimately make the transition to the ancestors. And it seems like we are so easily taken for granted for the time we are here, and people exploit your kind and generous acts of compassion for their own selfish benefits. Specifically when it comes to Black women and how this world depends entirely on them for a multitude of different situations and factors, they give charitably and are treated with such disrespect in return. The love they give is largely unrequited by many despite the narrative put out by propaganda and media sources, and they are never given the appreciations they so rightfully deserve. And it's upsetting, but never surprising, especially in regards to the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation. And I did read that he was charged and he may potentially face up to 20 years in prison if he's convicted. But what's even more frustrating is how what I say rings true in that situation. Here it is, you have our community completely divided on something that other communities of people wouldn't have the same division over. If we had the mentality necessary to actually understand properly the plight Black women face, I believe that a majority of our community would have heavily condemned and censured the actions of Tory Lanez, but because of our warped and twisted mindsets, half of our people gave support to Tory and even took on white supremacist level talking points to make it seem as though Megan was not deserving of support from her own people. However, that is not the reason I made this video. There's an article by BuzzFeed News and it talks about Travis Scott and how he thinks it's important to raise his daughter and have the conversation about protecting Black women. Now keep in mind, his daughter is by Kylie Jenner, so she's not a Black woman, but given the odd and unusual perception that Black people have regarding the one drop rule, his daughter would be seen as Black even though she's biracial. So right off, I feel like he probably isn't the best person to deliver that type of message, but I'll read a little bit of this and give you guys my commentary throughout the video. But before I get too deep, make sure you check out the sponsor ashkickin.com and look through their amazing inventory of health and beauty products suited for your skincare routine. All of their products are organic and made from hand, so you get quality products, and if you use my code CHRISMORE1 you will receive 15% off your purchase at checkout, so please make sure to check out ashkickin.com. The article starts off by saying Travis Scott opened up about raising Stormy with Kylie Jenner and how he wants her to be a quote-unquote strong Black woman. I feel like it's way more important now to protect our young Black daughters. Travis Scott wants to make sure his 2-year-old daughter Stormy knows she can do whatever she puts her mind to, as he opened up in a recent interview about parenthood. Speaking on Wave Radio, Travis emphasized the importance of protecting our young Black daughters and women and teaching the younger generation how to be strong and fearless. I feel like it's way more important now to protect our young Black daughters and women, he explained, making sure they have the knowledge of just how to carry yourself, how to move in this world, how to be strong, how to not even be scared to take that risk on any idea. I have talked about this narrative before and how we need to stop saying that strong Black woman moniker because it paints an unrealistic expectation for Black women. While society may perceive this as some type of compliment, it actually makes it look like Black women don't need any help at all, nor do they need any emotional support because of the fact that they're so strong that they can get through any situation. And it's profoundly reinforced in our community due to certain songs that repetitively talk about how she's so strong, she's independent, she doesn't need anybody's help. And you guys, that is a recipe for disaster because of the burden that it places on Black women. They are not Atlas, so we need to abstain from this backhanded compliment entirely. Also, like what I said, Travis Scott probably shouldn't be the one having this conversation given the fact that his daughter is biracial, not Black. And I really wish we would start making the distinction more in our community. I know the one drop rule runs rampant in our community, and the sad part is that it was created during slavery, yet for some reason we still run wild with it. And all I'm saying is, Let them identify as biracial. This is sometimes why biracial children oftentimes describe their experience growing up as confusing and difficult because of the numerous identity issues they have. And that shouldn't be an issue if we just allow them to say they're mixed or biracial. Plus, in general, they're genetically different from black people anyways. When a biracial person has children with someone white, the child or children will look whiter in appearance, while if they have a child with a black person, the child will take on more of an African phenotype. And this is what makes them different from regular black people, that they literally have the ability to either birth white or black contingent upon who they procreate with. Another thing I feel like this statement or interview or whatever it is not sincere or genuine, because to me, why now is he just realizing the importance of protecting black women? And see, this is the part I was telling you guys about, that it seems like he's saying this because it's trending now. In the wake of Breonna Taylor's case and Megan Thee Stallion, it really opened up the dialogue about how black women are not protected. Then in that same instance, you started seeing all of this pandering take place everywhere, with people using Malcolm X's quote about how the most disrespected and unprotected person is a black woman. Again, it's more of the same foolishness because, truth be told, over half those people are the main ones harboring derision for black women on a near daily basis, so that was hypocritical and duplicitous. And I think the reason this bothers me so much is because if it came from a place of sincerity, what took so long, and what actually is it that it's taken so long for a majority of black men to express the same sentiment? It's almost like a notice me type thing where it's like, hey, I'm over here and I'm saying to protect black women. It just seems like this is for attention and to pander to black women. I also feel like a lot of what he's saying is fluff. It isn't saying anything of monumental influence, and black women, despite the way society has treated them already, maneuver throughout this society doing all those things he says. So again, it's kind of confusing, and it makes you wonder again, why now of all times, and randomly do you come out and issue this type of statement? And it might also be to keep Kylie Jenner relevant, because if you all have been paying attention, their show, Keeping Up with the Monsters, has not been renewed for another season. I've never watched the show, so I didn't even know that it was still on. But if you think about it, just the fact that her name is mentioned could be a ploy to make her name trend. We do know that she has a large following on all social media platforms, but apparently that's not enough if the world isn't talking about them every minute of every day. And I'm so sorry, you guys. I know I've asked this 1,000 times already, but what exactly are his intentions for saying all of this? Like, this is literally nothing being said here. Am I the only one who sees this as a transparent, empty speech of intangible progression? So it says here, now more than ever, it's like they have the vision, he added. Whether it's for anything a man can do, anything a woman can do, they got the pure vision. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about that. Travis previously opened up about keeping Stormy aware of what's going on in the world and watching her grow up while in lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. It's amazing to just go watch my daughter grow, he told GQ back in August. I'm keeping her aware of what's going on in the world. As a parent, I'm always instilling knowledge, even at this age. Kylie has also opened up about raising Stormy, telling Harper's Bazaar earlier this year that she thinks about various aspects of parenthood a lot, and in particular how being in the public eye will affect her daughter. Obviously, you can expect that with COVID-19 and its very devastating effects on the world, that of course he would make sure his daughter has a working understanding of what's taking place around them. And you want your children to be educated to society in general, so I can give him that. Even though this is still perplexing to me as to why such a vague emphasis is present in this interaction. As for Kylie's involvement, remember I told you guys that these women's popularity is strategic. It doesn't surprise me at all that they are trending every week with some pathetic blunder, because honestly, if they were themselves, it would be extremely boring and they would only appeal to their own community, which, by the way, doesn't view them as a valuable commodity. The only people who see these monstrosities as treasure is black people. That's why last week Khloe Kardashian was trending, because she had yet another surgical enhancement done, this time to look more racially ambiguous. A lot of people said she was trying to emulate Beyonce's appearance, according to Black Twitter. I feel like if we were able to move accordingly as a community, then we would just ignore them altogether, because retweeting them and talking about them in general gives them notoriety unnecessarily. But due to the black community being so emotionally reactive to everything, it's a guarantee that somehow we'll be talking about these undesirables. But back to Travis Scott, I think the reason why I'm not getting a sense of sincerity from his statement is because when you go on his social media platforms, he really doesn't talk about black women specifically. I went on his Twitter and he was talking about sending 5 students. Granted, yes, one or two of them was a young black girl, but we have to look at the bigger picture. 1 or 2 acts of sympathy should not be indicative of sheer representation for black women. And this, I feel, is something we need to stop doing as a community as well. Stop thinking 1 or 2 examples is sufficient to satisfy the status quo. And I want to show you guys this comment because I feel it will help to vindicate a lot of what I'm saying. In response to Travis Scott saying he wanted to help students in an HBCU, a person from the larger society came on here and said that it basically would eliminate 95% of his fan base. And strangely, I find that to be true. When I think of a person like Travis Scott, I think of preppy kids from the larger society that listen to his music to try and be cool and down with their black friends. For some reason, they are a majority of the ones that really play his music like that, and I think it plays a part in why it is he's so commercially successful. That paired with the fact that he rarely addresses social issues in his community, unless of course when it's something that's popular and trending. And I didn't really see him speak on Breonna Taylor. If he did, please let me know in the comment section, but to my knowledge, I haven't seen him even mention her or Megan Thee Stallion situation. And I think overall, as it pertains to celebrities in our community, we really should not look to them to highlight issues that disproportionately affect black people, because oftentimes when they do speak on our problems, they either miss the mark completely or it's a situation where they speak up way too late about something. And at the end of the day, we have to realize that these people are entertainers. Their primary purpose is to entertain in whatever talent they're gifted at. There's a stark contrast between speaking publicly on issues that are unique to your community versus giving off the impression that you're knowledgeable in certain areas that affect your community. And what I mean by this is, while police brutality is but one issue that plagues our community, there are other areas that affect black people at alarming rates as well. And like I stated in past videos, I feel as though the celebrities in our community have signed a contract in which they can symbolically show positive imagery of black people or showcase real life situations that we experience, but they are not permitted to actually help in a way that's substantial. And I also understand that there are black people that listen to Travis Scott. I personally don't listen to him. I don't know any of his songs, but he appeals to the newer millennials and Generation Z, so they know more about him than what I do. Not saying I'm old because I'm only 28, but you guys get the idea. One last thing before I close this out, because I think easily this can go over a lot of people's heads, but it should actually be disrespectful to consider his daughter black, because in essence what he is saying is that he has the ability to create a black daughter without an actual black woman. So this statement is saying more than what meets the eye. He's saying that he doesn't even need a black woman to create a black child because he considers biracial to be black, which is very inaccurate. And I will say this, only 2 black people can create black children. Dark, brown, and light-skinned black people have the ability to create black children with each other. And black and white does not mean black. I don't see how that logic even came about other than the one drop rule, but I guess according to society rationale, it means black. Let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think Travis Scott's statement was kind of fluff and empty and in a way kind of late and could be considered a form of pandering? And why do you think black people adhere to a rule that was created during slavery despite the fact that they no longer work on the plantation? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you in the next one.